We had some technical difficulties because even though I'm supposedly the Instagram generation, Miss Hannah is not very Instagram savvy. Oh, I like how the light gives me a little halo. That's nice. I like it. Good morning, friends. It's been a kind of a crazy morning. I'll wait another minute to see if any friends join. But I guess being a couple minutes late is good for my ego because I don't have as much time to primp and fix my hair. It's probably good for me. We are starting a new theme of story time. March is known as International Women's Month. So to sort of stick with that theme, I am doing my best to read books that either are by women authors or have female main characters, which I think is kind of fun. But later on this week actually, we have a Dr. Seuss birthday party. I believe his birthday is actually today, or tomorrow.
Yesterday.
Oh, it was yesterday. Oops. But I don't know. I figured it would be better to wait until Friday. We have a Mario craft because Mario first made an appearance in Donkey Kong on March 10th. I believe it was in the 60s? I don't know. I'll check on that. And then, on March 15, we have a Pi Day celebration. Technically, to stick with the 3.14, it would be March 14, but since that's a Sunday, Miss Hannah's not going to be in the library. Miss Hannah's not giving up her Sunday. That's my day to clean. And then we have a pot of gold craft for the month of March for St. Patrick's Day. And 1981 was when Mario first appeared. I got Miss Tammy in the background doing research for me. Also, to stick with the theme of St. Patrick's Day, you get to make your own little leprechaun hat. And for our STEAM craft this month, you can make binary birthday necklaces. You come in to pick up a kit and a QR code with instructions is included. So, I'll keep reminding you on Wednesday mornings, and we'll have posts on Instagram and our website and probably our Facebook page too. All the usual news outlets. So, today for story time, I'm going to start with one of my favorites. I'm going to start by reading Olivia by Ian Falconer, which I think is sweet. I want to read the dedication because it's sweet. So this is Olivia, written and illustrated by Ian Falconer, and it's an Anne Schwartz book, which is Anthem Books for Young Readers. And the dedication says, "To the real Olivia and Ian," so this is named after his daughter, and Olivia has a brother named after his son. And then there's a little addendum that says, "And to William, who didn't arrive in time to appear in this book." I don't know why I think that's cute, but it is. All right. So, this is Olivia. She is good at lots of things. She is very good at wearing people out. Because here she is with a hammer, here she is jumping, here she is running, here she is, I don't even know, she's doing a headstand here, a yo-yo. I think she's singing here. She's baking, standing on one foot, kicking a ball, and all the way until she even wears herself out. Olivia has a little brother named Ian, and he is always copying. I don't know what that's like. I'm a youngest child, so I was always the one doing the copying. Sometimes Ian just won't leave her alone, so Olivia has to be firm, meaning I guess she has to scare him. Thankfully, my sisters never did that. At least not that I remember. Olivia lives with her mother, her father, her brother, her dog, Perry, and Edwin, the cat. In the morning, after she wakes up and moves the cat, and brushes her teeth, and combs her ears, and moves the cat, Olivia gets dressed. She has to try on everything. And this is why Miss Hannah thinks through what's clean in her closet while she drinks her coffee in the morning, to avoid doing all that. On sunny days, Olivia likes to go to the beach. She feels it's important to come prepared, so she has her bathing suit, her floaties, her earplugs, her goggles, her swim cap. Last summer, when Olivia was little, her mother showed her how to make sandcastles. She got pretty good. To my untrained eye, I think that's the Empire State Building in New York City. I'm not that talented when it comes to sandcastles. Sometimes Olivia likes to bask in the sun. When her mother sees that she's had enough, they go home. That's like Miss Hannah. I always joke that I don't tan, I just sunburn. I have 2 shades, ghostly pale or bright red. Every day, Olivia is supposed to take a nap. It's time for your you-know-what, her mother says. Of course, Olivia's not at all sleepy. On rainy days, Olivia likes to go to the museum. She heads straight for her favorite picture. Olivia looks at it for a long time. What could she be thinking? It looks like she's imagining herself as one of the ballerinas. But there is one painting Olivia just doesn't get. I could do that in about 5 minutes, she says to her mother. As soon as she gets home, she gives it a try. Oopsies. Looks like she did that on her bedroom wall. And for that, she gets a timeout. After a nice bath and a nice dinner, it's time for bed. But of course, Olivia's not at all sleepy. Only 5 books tonight, Mommy, she says. But Mommy says, no, Olivia, just 1. And Olivia says, how about 4? Mom comes back with 2. And then Olivia says, 3. And Mom agrees, oh, all right, 3. But that's it. When they have finished reading, Olivia's mother gives her a kiss goodnight and says, you know, you really wear me out, but I love you anyway. And Olivia gives her a kiss back and says, I love you anyway, too. And she dreams that she's an opera singer. I love it. I love it. Oh, I love Olivia. All right. Next, we're going to read Not All Princesses Dress in Pink, because it's by Jane Yolen, and I love Jane Yolen. Who is this one published by? Oh, Simon & Schuster. Awesome. All right. So not all princesses dress in pink. Some play in bright red socks that stink. Or blue team jerseys that don't quite fit, accessorized with a baseball mitt and a sparkly crown. Some princesses, when they choose, never pick out fancy shoes, but soccer cleats for outdoor sports with shin guards and some baggy shorts, and a sparkly crown. Some princesses roll around, wrestling on the muddy ground, then get right back up to skip and dance in tattered, stained, and muddy pants, and a sparkly crown. Some princesses wear their jewels while fixing things with power tools, saw, screwdriver, hammer, drill. They wear with pride each greasy spill, and a sparkly crown. Some princesses break their nails planting flowers into pails, driving dump trucks moving dirt, dressed in an extra large hand-me-down shirt, and a sparkly crown. Some princesses like to paddle, wearing lots of shiny metal, helmet on head and body armor so that nothing bad can harm her or her sparkly crown. Look at that. It's taped to the top of her helmet. I love it. In chainmail, they easily fight an evil sorcerer or knight, or escape a stony tower, displaying all their princess power in a sparkly crown. Then after a great victory lap, followed by a well-earned nap, to the ball these princesses run, wearing no pink gowns, not a one. They waltz in red, foxtrot in blue, they reel in plaid and polka dots too. And in those grand and fancy halls, one even hip-hops in her overalls, and a very sparkly princess crown. Because, you know, no outfit is complete without the sparkly crown. Next, we have Helga Makes a Name for Herself by Maynor, published by Clarion Books. All right. Young Helga loved to hear sagas of her favorite Viking warrior. She begged for them at bedtime. She says, "Tell me the one about Ingrid and the bear." And at fish pickling time, she says, "Tell me about the one about Ingrid at sea." During her monthly bath, she says, "Tell me the one about how she became Ingrid the axe." After Helga makes herself a helmet, and one for her pet Wolverine, she asks her mother, "What do you think my warrior name will be?" She says, "Oh, Helga, you're a farmer's daughter, not a warrior." Helga built herself a shield, and one for Wolfie, and asks her father, "What do you think my warrior name will be?" Helga's father laughed. He says, "Warriors do not come from small mountain villages like ours." Helga forged herself a sword and one for Wolfie, and asked her neighbor Sven Longbeard, "What do you think my warrior name will be?" But Sven mishears her and says, "Yes, I'll take some tea." "Helga," called her mother, "time to do your chores." Helga raced up steep hills to graze the sheep, as though her enemies were in pursuit. She chopped wood, imagining she was breaking into a treasure chest. And when her work was done, Helga and Wolfie reenacted the great battles of Ingrid the Axe, making them even greater. One Thursday, word reached Helga's farm that Ingrid the Axe was looking for new warriors, and her ship would be arriving soon. Faster than Valkyries fly, Helga and Wolfie donned their full battle gear. "Helga," said her father, "that contest is not for you." "Helga," said her mother, "remember who you are." "Yeah," said Helga. She said, "I'm a warrior." And Sven says, "Where's the wild boar?" In the port city, Helga and Wolfie saw more young Vikings than they had seen in their entire lives, along with real helmets, painted shields, and shiny swords. The other Vikings saw Helga and Wolfie too, and they said things like, "What is she wearing? What's wrong with her cat? And is that supposed to be a helmet?" A horn sounded. A giant voice boomed, "Gather around!" Helga gasped, "Ingrid the Axe." Wolfie fainted. "I'm looking for swift, mighty, clever warriors," said Ingrid. "Prove yourself and join my crew." "Yeah!" the young Vikings cheered. "First, a race," said Ingrid. Helga took her place at the starting line, and Helga started, "Ready, set, go." After years of running up the mountainside, Helga was fast. But when her homemade helmet slipped, Olaf pulled ahead. You, Ingrid pointed her giant hand at Olaf. Olaf, the swift. You join me. Next, battle axe bullseye. Helga has won an axe plenty of times. How difficult could it be to throw one? She pulled her hand back and thwunk. Whoops, she threw it backwards. Turns out it's a bit different. Sigrid threw a bullseye. You! Ingrid pointed her giant hand at Sigrid. Sigrid, the sure shot. Join me. And the last was sword fighting. Helga squared off against Magnus. The other Vikings laughed. This should be quick. Helga showed her teeth, and Magnus jumped back. They circled each other. Helga got low and prowled in close. She tweaked Magnus's nose. Helga jumped on Magnus's shoulders, then spun him around. Magnus turned and tripped. Helga pounced on her opponent and howled. What happened? Asked Magnus. You, Ingrid pointed at Helga. Ingrid pointed her giant hand at Helga. You fight like a wolverine. Wolvie stood tall. Ingrid continued. Helga, wait! Helga's parents came charging down the hill. She won't bother you anymore, said Helga's mother. We'll take her home, said Helga's father. Ahem, said Ingrid. I was about to say, Helga, the Howler, join me. Our Helga? Asked her mother. Is that a warrior's name? Asked her father. Helga stood before her stunned parents. I am a farmer's daughter. I am from a small mountain village, and I am a warrior. Helga and Wolvie howled together. Helga the Howler went on to sail the whole flat earth. First with Ingrid the axe, later on her own ship, and finally as commander of her own fleet of ships, Wolvie ever at her side. In fact, to this day, young Vikings beg to hear sagas of Helga during their nightly baths and pickling time and at bedtime. They always ask, tell me about how she became Helga the Howler. The end. Alright, so last we're going to read one of Miss Hannah's favorite books. I don't know why I love this one so much, probably because it takes place in Paris. We're going to read Madeline by Ludwig Bemelmans. 25 years of life, I've never learned how to pronounce this man's last name. Whoopsies. So this one is published by Viking Press. In an old house in Paris that was covered in vines lived 12 little girls in 2 straight lines. In 2 straight lines they broke their bread and brushed their teeth and went to bed. They smiled at the good and frowned at the bad. And sometimes they were very sad. They left the house at 9:30 in 2 straight lines, in rain or shine. The smallest one was Madeline. She was not afraid of mice. She loved winter snow and ice. To the tiger at the zoo, Madeline just said, pooh-pooh. And nobody knew so well how to frighten Miss Clavell. In the middle of the night, Miss Clavell turned on her light, and she said, something is not right. Little Madeline sat in bed and cried and cried. Her eyes were red. And soon after Dr. Cohen came, he rushed to the phone and he dialed Dan Ton 106. Nurse, he said, it's an appendix. Everybody had to cry. Not a single eye was dry. Madeline was in his arm, in a blanket, safe and warm. In a car with a red light, they drove out into the night. Madeline woke up 2 hours later, in a room with flowers. Madeline soon ate and drank. On her bed there was a crank, and a crank in the ceiling had the habit of sometimes looking like a rabbit. Outside there were birds, trees, and sky, so 10 days passed quickly by. One nice morning, Miss Clavell said, "Isn't this a fine day to visit Madeline?" So they got into a bus, and they got flowers. Visitors from 2 to 4 read a sign outside her door, tiptoeing with solemn face, with some flowers and a vase. In they walked, and they said, "Ah," when they saw the toys and candy and the dollhouse from Papa. But the biggest surprise by far, on her stomach was a scar. "Goodbye," they said, "we'll come again." And the little girls left in the rain. They went home and broke their bread. They brushed their teeth and went to bed. In the middle of the night, Miss Clavell turned on the light and said, "Oh, something is not right." Afraid of a disaster, Miss Clavell ran faster and faster. And she said, "Please, children, do tell me what is troubling you." And all the little girls cried, "Boo-hoo, we want our appendix out too." "Good night, little girls. Thank the Lord you are well, and now go to sleep," said Miss Clavell, as she turned out the light and closed the door. And that's all there is. There isn't any more. The end. Thanks for joining me for story time today. I will see you guys Friday at 10 here on Instagram Live for our Dr. Seuss birthday party. See ya.